Hi folks, you're with Tacitus Today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the issue of familiarity. Now, it's something that's a fairly recent phenomenon, but what problems does it cause? What benefits does it bring? How does it reflect a changing social structure where respect and divisions based on accomplishment, age, experience, knowledge, whatever, are being broken down? And if this equal outcomes thing is being applied to society at all levels and in many different ways, what are the benefits of it all? Now, I was a bit surprised when some friends of ours, they're year 10, so fourth year, so they're like 15, about 15 years old. We're talking about the teachers and they're having some sort of presentation night or something at the school, and they're referring to their I thought they were referring to fellow students. What at that time when Billie Jean did this and Billy Bob said that, or Jane this, or Bob or Harry that, and they were in fact referring to teachers. It wasn't Mr. Smith, Mr. Jones, Mr. whatever. It was everyone was on a first name basis. And so I was taken a little bit surprised. I'd heard it before, but hadn't really thought about it very much. So I was a little surprised. Do you all call your teachers by your first name? Oh, yeah. All the way, like from first year. Oh, yeah. So there's a bit of a shoulder shrug. So I don't know if it's maybe third year high school onwards or something where there's any division like that, but they seem to think it was okay from day one in high school that you refer to your teachers, by their first name. Now, when I went to school, that would have been beyond unthinkable. You didn't call them you didn't call the teacher a John or Jack or Bill or Harry. You called them by the Mr. Smith or Miss so and so or Mrs. such and such, and also you had the idea the teachers were older than you, therefore you showed respect to your elders. Now this is all broken down. I'm surprised by the way, say employees at a shop, retail store. They're very casual. The 18, the 17-year-old girl talks to me as if I'm the same age as her, as if I'm a friend or a colleague at work or a fellow student at school or something. And I find that odd. Why are you talking to me with such familiarity? I don't particularly care one way or another, but I just think it's a surprising way to deal with it. Like I'm 500 million years older than her, and yet in terms of the immediate social interaction, at least, it's something that a divide or a division or a difference that doesn't exist. Now, that may be a good thing in an equity, a society that's supposed to cherish equity. Then is that a good thing? Again, I don't particularly care. It doesn't really affect me one way or another. I'm not sure the ramifications are good. Now, we're always hearing situations where teachers and students are engaged in intimate relations. And now if it's a 15-year-old male student, having sexual relations with the female teacher who's 25, for example, then it's sort of she gets fired and gets told not to do it again sometimes, but only sometimes. She maybe is struck off the record, can't get a teaching job. But otherwise, there's no. If a man does it, of course, it's Hitler. Hitler is doing it, and so he tends to get a prison term. The woman not so much. Where you do get men having prison terms, they get even if it's fully consensual, even if she's harassing him for sex, it's still on the technicality that she's underage or he has a duty of care. On the basis of that technicality, they send him to prison. But they're much less rigorous in applying that if it's a female teacher. But you can see how the familiarity thing would play out when people, it's all first names, or you're just the same as me. You can, that division, that divide on the supposed authority of the teacher and the age difference. I used to think anyone more than 2 or 3 years older than me was ancient, and so such was my teenage view of the world. But that's all gone. And again, there was a girl in a retail store who again was quite familiar, and as I was out in another town, I got this call. Someone shouted out, "Hey!" I looked around, it was her. "Oh, hello!" And so I thought, well, it's only, I'll just exchange some pleasantries about the weather. But the way she talked to me and approached me, looked at me, and the whole vibe was that I was the same age as her. She was the same age as me. There was no divide based on age or anything at all. So I just think that's odd. Now, another thing that sort of surprises me is how often. Now I'm equivalent to the CEO. It's not a huge company. I mean, even with subcontractors, there's only 100 or so people, so it's not like it's a massive company, is it? But nonetheless, and I'm surprised at the amount of times, whether it be a government department or a private company, how many times the company sends the teenage girl to contact me directly to talk about business matters. And she's just going to shuffle that information back to, someone up the chain from her. So why isn't the CEO contacting me? Why isn't it the director of operations? Why isn't someone in a position similar to mine, with decision-making authority and seniority? Why are they delegating that to a teenage girl who's simply not experienced, qualified, or shouldn't be anywhere near something like that, but they're delegating it to her. Now, just recently, a few days ago, a snotty teenage girl with attitude, she's been brought up in an education system that all men over the age of 40 are Hitler and all this type of stuff. So she contacts, doesn't show any respect, or whether it be my knowledge, my age, my position, or anything like that. Again, I don't particularly care, but why would any organisation or anybody, particularly say that teenage girl, go and call that CEO? In my case being 62, but that doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't dream of doing that. I mean, the thought wouldn't cross my mind. I would contact the senior person directly. I certainly wouldn't send a teenage girl, like a trainee or an intern level person to go and do it. That seems insane. Are they trying to sort of engage in some sort of humiliation? Are they trying to elevate themselves? Look at my power. I can order these teenage girls to call you. So there you go. See, I'm more powerful than you. I mean, what's going on here? So nor is this the first time. It's happened before. Now, I don't want to be rude. I see, it's not her decision. I don't want to be rude to the girl or difficult or say, piss off, you silly bindos. I don't want to do anything like that. So I try and thank you, Billie Jean, for your call. It's really good. How are things going there today? Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, gee whiz. That's fantastic. All right, then. Well, look, I won't deal with this with you now, but could you ask Jimmy Jack to give me a call when he's got time? Would that be okay? Could you do that? So I'll approach it that way, and then leave it. And sometimes she even calls back. Oh, I spoke to Jimmy Jack, and he told me to go. No, I really need to talk to Jimmy Jack about this. There's a few other things come up. So why is Jimmy Jack avoiding it? Why is he not? Or why this? Now, this recent teenage girl, I mean, she sounds like, oh, gee, I wouldn't send her to call anybody about anything. So anyway, she's got her profile online, and in her profile, not the first one. This is her profile picture is her on a beach in a bathing costume. That's her business profile, for fuck's sake. And nor is she she's not bad, I suppose, but she's not like she's a hot piece of ass. I wouldn't be parading around on my business profile in a bathing costume, not looking like that. So, or at all for that matter. Now, if she wants to do it on some personal, like I don't know, a dating website or something, she wants, that's fine. It's okay, But the idea of doing it on a business profile. So I'm looking at this in the wider sort of context of the the idea of familiarity. Now, what used to be markers of respect, somebody holding a position of authority, someone older, school teacher, this sort of thing, because they held responsibilities, and it was the duty of those who did not hold responsibilities, had less experience, were younger, to respect those that did have that. And I was taught to show respect. One school I went to, you called the teachers sir, and they referred to as masters. Then it was, Mr. Smith, the maths teacher. So it's Mr. But and the deference was there. If the teacher said, "Look, you've got detention tonight, or you've got double homework," or younger, if they would threaten you with the cane, or even give you the cane, for that matter, the respect demanded that you complied. Now the times have changed. I understand that, and but is it for any better if you don't respect people for any reason? Their accomplishments. For example, someone who's got a PhD, many of them will have got it through affirmative action, of course, but even those who've earned it, doesn't get anywhere near the respect that it once did. Now, there's more PhDs around, and therefore, if you came across the amount of PhDs was very few, and therefore they were accorded respect relative to the scarcity, if you like, of the PhD, whereas there's many more PhDs today. But this idea of respecting accomplishment and achievement and so on, age, experience, credentials, it all seems to have gone. And I noticed this in say, interviewing engineering graduates for engineering, rather say civil engineering in this case. And the degree is treated as a bit of paper, like the straight white guy only got it because you're a straight white male Nazi. I'm getting it, the female lesbians, because of restorative justice to create an equity paradise. So no one has respect for any of the markers of respect that used to exist, that once existed, that I showed great respect to. For example, a president or a prime minister or a senior government official. I've met senior government officials who I wouldn't get to sweep the floor. I mean, how did they get there? Okay, it's affirmative action. The globalists are making all the big decisions, so it doesn't matter which silly, stupid, useless flunky they stick in the government these days. Don't have to make decisions. They don't have to do any heavy policy lifting, so who cares? But these, again, is a breaking down all the issues that used to be the sources of respect, reverence, deference, and all these sort of things. So I'm asking, is it a good thing? What have we lost? You've been fantastic today at your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.